What's up, duelists? It's finally starting to feel like summer. It's about 85 degrees in my house as I'm recording this, and goddamn, I am happy. Oh my gosh, that was such a long winter in Las Vegas. This has nothing to do with the video I'm about to show you guys at all. I just wanted to say that I'm stoked that it's starting to heat up, and fun stuff is happening outdoors. Of course, I've got a bunch of replays for you guys. This first one is between powerful duelist Dragon of the West versus Joel Power Monarch. I'm not exactly sure how I clickbaited this, but I'm sure it has something to do with Dragon of the West playing one of my favorite decks in the format, Fairies. You guys ask for this deck all of the goddamn time. So, yeah, we're going to show both hands. We're going to cover this replay. We're going to cover a few more replays of a bunch of different players, just stuff that I picked up along the road out here today. This one is gonna be a heated match because there's a lot of debate. People are always asking me, and for good reason, should I play the regular fairies or should I play the chaos fairies? And while I do think that the chaos fairies deck is interesting and unique and different, I don't think it's different for the sake of necessarily being better. I actually think the original fairies deck accomplishes everything the chaos fairies deck wants to accomplish and more. And it does it way easier without potentially breaking on cards like Chaos Sorcerer, having dead cards like Battle Fader, which don't really amount to much, without conversions. I think the regular Fairies deck is just more streamlined. It has an easier time doing what the deck wants to do, which is basically summon this guy right here. Opening hands from both players. Joel Power going first, and he has a really strong start. He has Royal Decree, set turn 1 on the play, always really strong. But Dragon of the West does have the answer in Mystical Space Typhoon. Dragon of the West also has Raikou, which is a pretty good card in the mirror match. It can deal 1-for-1 with Dimensional Alchemist or Shining Angel in a way that not a lot of cards can. Archlord Christie, of course, very powerful. No Dark for Chaos Sorcerer, so that's going to be a brick for the time being. Sets Shining Angel and passes the turn. Now, in this hand, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Because next turn, what are you doing? No, that's probably fine. You have Royal Decree. I actually like this. Yeah, I like Set Shining Angel. That's a solid opening. Now we've got Return from the Different Dimension. That's going to be really strong with this Dimensional Alchemist in Dragon of the West hand. I wonder if he's going to attack the set monster or if he's going to try to get a little bit cheeky with this Raikou to try and set up the Call of the Haunted. Let's see what happens. Just sets the Raikou to set up the Call of the Haunted. Now I like this a lot. I actually like this play a lot. Sure, you run the risk of getting Caius, but if this doesn't get Caius, it has a lot of good targets. It has Monster, it has a back row. That's a lot of good targets. Okay, Book of Moon is the draw, and he is going to go for the committal play. DD Warrior Lady summoned, going to attack. Shining Angel gets flipped. Here comes Raikou. I have to imagine Raikou is going to pop the Shining Angel here. You don't really have a great way of dealing with it in your hand, so I think the Raikou is going to go after the Shining Angel. Of course, you could go after the DD Warrior Lady, but you're pretty happy running into that since you do have the Return and the Dialk in your hand. So I think you just go after the Shining Angel here. Dragon of the West making the correct play. Mills some pretty solid targets for his Call of the Haunted. Not as good as Christia, but having extra recruiters to have access to is the next best thing. So, yeah, that's it. It's going to take 1,500 from the DD Warrior Lady, and then a second... Oh, no, wait. Sorry, didn't the DD Warrior Lady attack the Raikou? Yeah, I'm pretty sure the DD Warrior Lady attacked the Raikou. Anyway, here comes Dialk. Summon. Activate. This is going to play around Bottomless Trap Hole. Misses on the Dialk activation. Unfortunate, unlucky. Dragon of the West has a new tech card in his hand, Compulsory Evacuation Device. This is something I know ProStorm's been talking about and a few other players have been talking about. I personally don't love it in Fairies. I think it's a little bit too card disadvantage-y. You already have 3 Book of Moon, which is like card disadvantage in some instances. And I think if you pair those 3 with a compulsory, you can often have draws where you just have like 2 books and a compulsory and it's like, my hand can't do anything. Whereas, I think Book of Moon is pretty good against stuff like Caius. Compulsory, not so good in those instances. Book of Moon, definitely my pick of choice for interactive spells. Compulsory Evacuation Device, a little bit sus. It can be good. It can be good, obviously. It can out some pretty serious threats. It can help you force through certain boards that you would otherwise have difficulty outing, but I don't think it's particularly the best choice for the main deck in this deck. Here comes the Dialk attack. That's going to banish both of them. Again, pretty happy about that. Even though your Dialk missed, you still have a live return now, which is good. Sets Typhoon, sets Call of the Haunted. I like this set here. There's nothing you really want to compulsory at this point of the game. And actually, in the mirror match, compulsory is pretty fucking bad. So drawing it here is really awkward. So yeah, he just needs to stick a threat It's more about who's sticking the threats and then who gets the early Christia. With the Shining Angel gone, it's actually pretty hard for Joel Power to threaten Christia here. He doesn't really have a great way to get the 4 fairies in the grave. His Chaos Sorcerer is completely dead. He only plays so many darks that hit the grave. Caius, it's pretty hard to get that into the grave without like a Raikou Mill. Battle Fader doesn't really hit the grave. So it's literally just Sangan that gets the Chaos Sorcerer alive, which is pretty bad, honestly. I think that it's oftentimes going to look like this in your hands. Here comes probably Dialk Activate. Yep, when you're playing into back row, Dialk Activate is like one of the best things you can do. Now, if I'm Dragon of the West, I'm calling the Recruiter now. If he has Royal Oppression, you can Typhoon it. And if the Decree gets flipped, like it does here, you get information on the deck. You're like, okay, he's probably playing the Chaos version because that plays Decree. Now, Decree is actually a card I really like in the pure version as well. I've been back and forth on it in my lists. I sometimes side it. I sometimes main it. I sometimes don't play it. But it's definitely a good card in the pure version. So if you do want to play this card in the more pure versions of Fairies, I think it has a lot of application. I actually think it's really solid, especially when paired with like Christia or like Consecrated Light or honestly just a Thunder King. Oftentimes, Royal Decree is pretty fucking strong. So, yeah, here comes the Space Typhoon, Chain to the Royal Decree. The Dialk can now choose to attack, and he elects not to. So, saving the life points there is pretty good from Dragon of the West. But that being said, he's in an awkward spot where he couldn't really get over this Dialk without giving his opponent access to a DD Warrior Lady. Thankfully, he did pick up DD Warrior Lady if you're a Dragon of the West fan, and that's going to be able to clear this Dialk no problem. No problem, bro. Just banish the Dialk and then hit for 14. Now, you have a situation where your return is looking insane. Royal Decree is gone because you drew the outs. You have a compulsory evacuation device to protect your monster in case it gets cleared somehow. You pretty much have game on lock next turn. You can summon Shining Angel. You can return back your monsters, and that's what, 28, 43, 61 exactly. So it's exact lethal next turn with return. So he's threatening lethal because return is so goddamn broken. And as you can see here, Caius the Shadow Monarch is the draw. Like I was saying, it is a dark monster, but it comes with an asterisk. It doesn't hit your graveyard. It bricks in hands like this. It just makes your Chaos Sorcerer even more awkward. It makes your Christias even more awkward. These cards are pretty bad in this deck because you don't have the tribute fodder to consistently summon Caius. Oftentimes, if you're sacrificing a Shining Angel or sacrificing a Dimensional Alchemist, it's worse than just leaving that monster in play to sacrifice it for the Caius. DD Warrior Lady can maybe try and set something up here, but it's just so awkward because that return is still just chilling there and still representing the exact 6100 damage necessary to close this game out. Here comes Herald of Orange Light. That's a very interesting draw because he could potentially convert a little bit more off of this return. I mean, I have to imagine he goes for it. He attacks for 14, gonna deal the damage. Wow, he didn't go for it. That is some restraint. I would have 1,000 billion% gone for return there. I think that's just Dragon of the West missing lethal, straight up. Obviously, you're going to get booked. Okay, you're going to get booked. Whatever. I mean, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Who cares? You get booked? All right. You know what? You dealt 1 million damage, and you have compulsory to threaten the next normal summon to guarantee that you get the lethal in on the following turn. So I think that's just definitely a little bit of a miscalculation there. I believe it is exactly. Let me do the math real quick. Angel plus Angel is 28, plus DD Warrior Lady is 43, plus 1800 from Alchemist. That is 61. So it would have been exactly lethal. Yeah. Passes a turn back. Brain controls the draw, pressing the advantage even more. You can see the activity of the regular Fairy deck absolutely dominating. You have 3 dead cards from the Chaos Fairy deck. You have 0 dead cards from the regular Fairy deck. And this is why this deck is so good. It just has 6 live cards all of the time, sometimes even more. And those live cards can be really good at tempoing out the opponent. Here, compulsory can get used. If he so chooses, Brownick can just bounce the back row. He can chain book. But, you know, return's gonna win the game because it is exactly lethal like it was last turn, basically. There's compulsory. Now, that lethal was really fucking shoddy because it gets stopped by Gores, but didn't get stopped by Gores. So there you go. Again, I would have gone for it on the previous turn because, you know, it's a little bit more forcing. It's a little bit better into Gores, but yeah, it ended up working out all right for Dragon of the West there. Okay, in this hand, he's got Brain, Mind, 2 very powerful cards, especially when paired with a tuner. Herald of Orange Light, Nova Summoner, Dialk, both live cards, very powerful. Joel Power Monarch also has a very, very live hand. Now, this is a hand you could draw in both versions of the deck. You got the Cyber Valley tech, which I think is pretty solid tech. I am a the progenitor of the Cyber Valley mind control tech. I think it's very strong. I think it helps improve the deck's consistency quite a bit. It powers up your return, powers up your dealks, powers up your mind control, all that sort of stuff. He's got his own Herald of Orange Light, so we could see maybe potentially a Herald battle here. He's got Shining Angel and DD Warrior Lady to sort of set some stuff up. So, yeah, getting to go first with this type of hand, you have to be pretty fucking happy. If I'm Joel Power Monarch here, I'm actually committing the DD Warrior Lady first. I'm waiting on the Shining Angel because you might want to save this Shining Angel for a moment where you need to protect it. You don't want to be forced to use your Herald this early on. So he does set the Shining Angel. So now you get into an awkward situation where, like, if Dragon of the West summons his DD Warrior Lady and attacks your Shining Angel, you're pretty much forced to Herald of Orange Light. And if your opponent has their own Herald of Orange Light, you've lost everything, basically. You've lost your entire hand. And the Recruiter is your entire hand, basically. Whereas if you just go DD Warrior Lady and DD Warrior Lady, you can let that trade happen, and then your Angel is actually a much better threat because Angel can be DD Warrior Lady. But it can also be Dialk. It can also be Honest. It can also set up for Christia. It can do so much more than just DD Warrior Lady can. Whereas DD Warrior Lady is like something that you effectively want to pick at your opponent's resources with, more or less. Here comes a draw of another Recruiter from Dragon of the West. So let's see what he does. He just sets his own Recruiter and passes. Could have gone for Mind Control. Could have tried to Synchro. Maybe he just wants to hold his Herald. Maybe he just wants to see what's up. If I'm Joel here, I'm definitely summoning DD Warrior Lady. And now Joel has the initiative. Dragon of the West, not really pressing his initiative, not really playing his cards, not really trying to do anything. If anything, I probably would have even attacked. Who knows? But yeah, nothing is really going to happen here. DD Warrior Lady is going to get summoned. Now, Dragon of the West is going to lose this Herald fight if he chooses to go for it. Looks like he doesn't, which is actually really smart. You never want to be the first person to Herald in the Fairy Mirror match. If you can hold your Herald as long as possible until you forced your opponent to use their Herald, that's when you're winning. That's when you're crushing it. Dragon of the West recognizes he has another Nova Summoner. He's okay to trade 1-for-1 with the DD Warrior Lady here. He doesn't need to go -1 on the Herald. So he's good to go. He draws into Raikou. Raikou, again, really solid. That can help clear the Shining Angel. Now Joel has picked up another copy of a Recruiter. So he is kind of insulated from this Raikou at this moment. But there are a couple ways that Dragon of the West can clear a Recruiter. He's got Brain Control. He's got Mind Control. And he's got Raikou. So he's got 3 different ways to clear it. Solemn Judgment's pretty good, but he's just going to set the Raikou and pass. Now, Nova Summoner gets summoned here. I might have honestly considered summoning the Sangan. I think it's better to get the Sangan in play. I think you want to diversify your threat options here. Hold the Nova Summoner as long as possible, basically. Committing both of these is a little bit risky because if somehow your board gets nuked or these both get answered, the Sangan is much worse in hand than the Nova Summoner is here. So, yeah, and the Sangan getting killed or whatever is much less impactful than the Nova Summoner getting killed. Sangan can also tutor you Honest or DD Warrior Lady or whatever you really need to stable this position. Here comes Raikou. It's going to pop one of the Recruiters and it's going to mill 3 cards. Mills 2 Fairies and a DD Warrior Lady. Solid mill. Looks like he is on Soul, Purity, and Light. I think this card's fucking fantastic, but hey, that's just me. So that's going to pop the Angel. No additional damage is going to be dealt. And Book of Moon is going to be the draw. I actually don't really love Book of Moon in the mirror match. I sometimes, if not all of the time, side it out. It is awkward because it cuts out outs to Christia, but I don't think it's like one of the better cards in the mirror match for sure. It can stop Brain Control, which is pretty important. It can stop a couple of different interactions like Deprison if they're playing it. And maybe he left it in because he knows his opponent is playing Royal Decree, so he just wants ways to interact that aren't trap cards, which is understandable. But in general, I think Book of Moon is probably one of the worst cards you could have in your deck in the mirror match here. He goes ahead and just sets his Recruiter and passes the turn. Now with Archlord Christia being the draw here, that's pretty fucking good. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty fucking good. If you're Joe Power Monarch, you do have to think about attacking this monster. And if you do attack this monster, you have to think about whether or not you want to do whatever the fuck I was thinking. I can't remember what I was going to say. But yeah, if you do attack this monster, you have to think about whether or not you're going to... I don't even know where I'm going with this. Yeah, you could summon Herald here. You could also Synchro. Unfortunately, there's no real... No, wait, there is, actually. You can Synchro into Bryonic, pitch Herald, bounce this, and then special Christia. So, yeah, no, you have Bryonic Christia here, which is really fucking good. And honestly, you should go for it because if he stops the Bryonic, then he can't stop the Christia. And if he doesn't stop the Bryonic, he's caught in a loop, kind of, basically. It is a bit all in into Herald, though. Maybe he doesn't go for it. Maybe he doesn't go for it. I probably would have gone for it. Let's see what he does. He just attacks. Can't say I'm a fan of that. But it's probably fine. Does he herald this? No. Grabs a Shining Angel. Interesting. Really interesting stuff. He could have summoned Herald. He could have synchroed off. He could have made Bryonic, pitched the other Herald to try and bounce the set. And then if that gets heralded, he can special Christia. But if you're Dragon of the West, you can just hold your Herald, wait for the Christia to get dropped and activated. And then you're just facing down a Bryonic with only 2 cards in hand and a set back row. The Solemn can stop one of the Brain or the Mind, but it can't stop the other one. It would have been a different game for sure. I don't think the Patience from Joel is necessarily bad. I just think that it's definitely an option there. I don't know if I would have gone for it. The Sangan does get set here, which is, pretty good. Might have even, definitely set the Sangan. Knock is the draw. Now, Knock is a good card, I think, in the mirror match. You do want to outset monsters. Usually DD Warrior Ladies, Raikos, that kind of thing can give you issues. So, yeah, definitely want Knock in the mirror match. It also is complemented by Book, especially if you have like multiple copies of Knock, then having the Book here is not as bad as it normally is. Knock's going to hit the set monster. Just want to use it while you still have a target. Makes perfect sense. Sets Book of Moon and passes the turn. Now, the draw here is Royal Decree. Royal Decree not going to be that useful. There's 0 trap cards here from Dragon of the West. The cool thing about the Fairy deck is you can actually side out a lot of your trap cards if you face up against Royal Decree. I've actually sided as low as having 3 trap cards in my deck against a Royal Decree Jinzo deck before. So, you can definitely swap a lot of cards in and out to make certain cards live, certain cards dead, etc., etc. This is still a position where Herald can get summoned and Bryonic can get made. Let's see if that happens. It looks like he is going to go for it in some capacity. Here comes Bryonic. It's going to target the back row. That's going to happen. That's going to resolve. Here comes Archlord Christia. You do have to think about negating this, because if you negate it, he's just going to draw it again next turn, and he's just going to play it again next turn. That being said, if you don't negate it, he's going to run over your Shining Angel, and you're going to fucking lose. Maybe? I don't know. Maybe you don't lose. Maybe you just brain control the Christia. Brain control the Bryonic. I don't fucking know what you're supposed to do. I guess you brain control the Bryonic. You can bounce the Christia, but then you can just play it again. That's so awkward. This is such an awkward position to be in. What a weird game state. So if you let the Christia resolve, then he adds back Herald. You can brain control the Bryonic, presumably. You can pitch a card to bounce the Christia. That doesn't necessarily out the Christia, though. You have Book of Moon, which doesn't necessarily out the Christia either, but you can put him in an awkward spot where he has 3 fairies engraved and has the Christia in hand. So I kind of like letting the Christia resolve here. Heralding it is awkward because it is face up on the field. So it would be sent to the graveyard and it would return to the top of the deck. So he's just drawing it again next turn. He can play it again next turn. So I think what you do is you let this resolve. It does suck. You lose your Shining Angel, but I think that's correct. Bryonic's going to be able to attack over the Shining Angel, and Christia is able to attack directly for 80 bajillion damage. Now, Mirror Force is the draw here, which is pretty decent. It's not bad. You could do a bunch of different stuff. I think what you want to do is you want to brain control Bryonic, obviously, or mind control Bryonic. Okay, that's going to get solemned, but now you brain control it. Same shit. You brain control Bryonic, take it. Wait, what the fuck? Isn't this just game? Don't you just bounce Christia and then summon Dialk and then attack with both? Am I missing something? He's at 4,000 now. Let's see what happens. I feel like he should just go for game. I know he doesn't win this turn, though. So he goes Bryonic, pitch Book of Moon, target Christia. That doesn't make any sense. You definitely want to pitch Mirror Force here. Yeah, you definitely pitch Mirror Force here. He's playing around. I don't know what he's playing around. Because, like, Summon Herald also loses to Book of Moon. So you might as well summon Dimensional Alchemist and attack with both. And if he has Mirror Force, your Alchemist gets popped, but you get something back. Whereas here, if you just Mirror Forces the Bryonic, you're kind of screwed. And Mirror Force is pretty bad here. The Book of Moon's better because it can at least set a resolved Christia and allow you to do something. Yeah, I think you just missed lethal by not summoning the Dialk. Wild. Crazy. And now he's going to synchro off into Colossal Fighter with one warrior in the graveyard, being DD Warrior Lady. Not a great position to be in. Generally speaking, you don't like to be in this spot if you're Dragon of the West. So, yeah, I don't really like this. Here comes normal summon Cyber Valley. Pass the turn. Thunder King Ryo is the draw. Well, you have to summon that, right? You have to summon Thunder King, right? Okay, main phase 2, summon Thunder King. Pass the turn. Here comes Allure of Darkness. Battle Fader. Okay, Allure and Battle Fader actually doing something, but just draws into more meme shit. Like, what are you really going to banish here? Battle Fader or Caius? You kind of have to keep the Battle Fader, so you kind of have to banish the Caius, which is really awkward. You could set Herald of Orange here, but then you risk just dying. Actually, you do just die. You have to keep the Battle Fader, so yeah, that's really awkward. And here's Christia. He hasn't stopped any of your attacks on the previous turns. Just fucking tribute summon Christia and attack for game. Am I missing something? Is this like no, we're gonna play into Battle Fader. Okay, that's alright. No, that's cool too. That's totally chill. Main phase 2 sets the Dialk, passes the turn. Here comes switch Battle Fader, normal summon Shining Angel, attack Thunder King. You just let this happen. That's going to grab Honest, I'm assuming. Yep. Main phase 2, bounce Honest, special Christia. Thunder King to negate, Herald to negate. Archlord Christia is going to resolve, and that's going to grab back Honest. Okay, so now you have yourself a stalemate situation. Dragon of the West missed lethal 2 turns in a row, and is now stuck in a stalemate situation, which is really, really unfortunate for him, but that's why you don't misplay fucking 2 turns in a row. My Body as a Shield's an interesting card. It's not that good, but it can be okay at negating Herald of Orange Light. My issue with it is oftentimes when Herald of Orange Light's getting used in this matchup, it's getting used either on a Shining Angel, which is in your graveyard already, so My Body as a Shield isn't going to stop it, or Herald of Orange Light's getting used on Honest, which My Body as a Shield can't protect, or it's getting used on Christia, which you're usually fine with because you just draw the Christia again next turn and then just special it again next turn. So I think My Body as a Shield in this matchup, pretty bad. Overall, pretty bad. Not the best, especially up against this Chaos version that has more ways to banish than it does destroy. I don't believe this version plays Raikou. I don't believe it plays Mirror Force or Torrential. So My Body as a Shield is just like laughably bad in this matchup. He's going to Colossal Fighter attack with the Battle Fader, set his My Body as a Shield, and pass the turn. So now Return is the draw. Heavy Storm's going to get played. Return a little bit awkward with Christia in play, but it's still an insane card. Attacks over the Dialk. Dialk adds back Nova Summoner. Now this is an awkward spot because Dragon of the West can just attack over this Christia, but Honest will get dropped. So then the Christia sticks around. The Colossal Fighter can't bring anything back because Christia is in play. It's kind of awkward. If this Christia could leave play because there was a Book of Moon at some point instead of a Mirror Force because of Royal Decree, yeah, you get the idea. But the Christia is not leaving play anytime soon. Torrential Tribute the draw. Not very good into Return or Royal Decree because you can just return Chainlink 2 to play around Torrential, or you could use Decree to negate Torrential. So yeah, this is going to be kind of awkward. Set is Torrential, passes the turn. Here comes Christia attack, drops the Honest, deals 2,800, puts Dragon of the West down to 200. Now he's probably feeling really fucking silly for doing the things that he did. You know, missing lethal those couple of turns. It's really costing him here. But alas, he's bailed out by the best monster in the deck, Freed. Who needs Caius when you have Freed? This card is fucking insane. You just activate it here, blow up the Christia, and Joel concedes. Which I don't really agree with, because if he pops the card here, Return can be activated to keep himself alive. That being said, if he doesn't activate it on the resolution of Freed, then Dragon of the West can special summon Christia and lock him out from using the Return. That also is an opportune moment to use Torrential Tribute, but Joel does have Royal Decree to stay alive another turn. Unfortunately for him, he will be redrawing that Christia, and there's nothing he can really play since he's gone up to a bajillion fairies, and he doesn't have the same level of grave control as the regular fairy deck does. So that's going to be it. That's going to be the match. A really exciting match between the regular fairy deck and the chaos fairy deck. I think this really accentuated the strengths of the regular fairy deck, and it really accentuated the weaknesses of the chaos fairy deck. In general, I will never recommend playing the chaos fairy version. I think it is just worse, ultimately. All right, next replay. Let's hop into the next replay. This is a replay between Mara Rage and Stuffed Cherries. Both fire usernames. Mara Rage is going to lose the rock, paper, scissors. I really like the dark Charmer sleeves from Stuffed Cherry. They look fire. I also like the full Rescue Rabbit aesthetic from Mara Rage. This looks like a Debris Hime deck, some sort of like Lightsworn Dandelion Debris deck, versus Frog Monarchs, which is a classic matchup. We've got Volcanic Shell, which basically confirms that Quick Draw is also in the deck as well. Sets Dandy, sets Torrential Tribute, passes a turn. It's pretty straightforward. That's what you're doing with this hand. Drawing Titanial sucks, but you can make it work if you have enough tokens. Passes the turn. 1-for-1, best possible draw. Your hand was completely dead, and now it actually does something. Gonna set the flip-flop, and pass the turn. 1-for-1 is chillin', waiting to clear that back row potentially with a Ryza sack. I don't really love this. I feel like you just go for the 1-for-1. Like, what are you scared of? Royal Oppression? Literally, that's it. I don't know. I don't think setting a monster is the way that you win this game as Mara Rage. Okay, Card Trooper is the draw from Stuffed Cherries. Here comes potentially Flip Dandy, Torrential. Yep, I like this play. It's going to blow up Flip Flop Frog. It's going to tell you what you're facing off against too, which is kind of nice. You get 2 tokens. You can now summon Debris, bring back the Dandy, or you could go Card Trooper, or you could double sack for Titanium. Oh, you can't even do that, sorry. Dandelion tokens for summon this turn. Ha ha ha, I'm bad. You can't do that quite yet. But you do want a Debris. I think you do Debris into Starbucks Dragon. I would go Debris into Starbucks Dragon just because, I don't know. Card Trooper's going to run into Gores, and you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer for it, Stuffed Cherries. I would have gone into Stardust Dragon, though, just because it gives you more tokens to play with. So, like, even if your opponent goes, like, crazy ham. But Debris is good, too, because it can answer a resolve board, kind of like this. Card Trooper will give you a draw. The Mills-Off Card Trooper, not great, but not bad. You really didn't want to draw Lone Fire. Foolish here is also kind of a meme, because you already have Dandy access. So, Brain Control is really the only card you would have liked to draw there. The other two were pretty good for you to mill. Brain Control to draw from Mara Rage, so Mara can do some fucking nasty stuff here. Flips the shit here. I don't know why you wouldn't. I guess you're sacking the token to Substitute. I would have denied the draw. I would have actually Brain Controlled the Card Trooper and dealt 2,700 here. Actually, more than that. You would have dealt 4,600 because Card Trooper over a token, Substitute over a token, and then 4,600 direct. Huge damage. Just put your opponent in like a huge back foot position. Deny them the draw from Card Trooper. You have another Brain Control effect in Enemy Controller already. You could have even switched one of the tokens to attacked over it for 1,900, and dealt even more damage. If you wanted to deal upwards of 6,500 damage, this turn definitely could have. Maybe just playing a little bit conservatively around Gores. Attacks over the tokens. But I like denying the draw there. Substitute's going to activate. Going to go through all the frogs. We're going to go Treeborns. Swap frogs, Substitutes, sacks for the Dupe Frog, sacks for the Unifrog, and passes the turn. I do like going for Unifrog here. I think Unifrog is one of the least represented cards in the Frog deck, but I actually think it's a pretty strong card. I think it's a good tech. If you're playing Frog Monarchs or this type of deck where it's just like, Frog Monarchs basically, I think Unifrog's a solid tech. You could do a lot worse than playing this card in your deck. Stuffed Cherries, Avarice, dead. Lila, dead. Shell, dead. Debris Dragon, your only play basically. You go Debris Dragon, bring back Dandy, nuke the field with Black Rose, and get 2 tokens. Now, Dupe Frog doesn't activate here because Black Rose Dragon is Chainlink 2, Dandelion is Chainlink 1, and because Dupe Frog is destroyed Chainlink 2, it misses timing. So that's how that works. Here comes Threatening Roar. Not a great draw. Could have brought back Treeborn. Could have cleared these, but just decided not to. Here comes Cyber Valley. That's going to draw 2 cards. If Quick Draw is found here, then Stuffed Cherry is going to be living. It's just another copy of Avarice. Kaya's kind of dead, kind of chilling. I feel like you go for the Avarice. Interesting. So they normal summon Cyber Valley. They activated the effect to draw 2 cards. And then they normal summoned Lila. And neither player caught that. So Stuffed Cherries is just going to normal summon twice. That's one of those weird things. And no Avarice activation to try and find a trap card. Interesting. Maybe wanted to leave the Dandelion in the grave. I don't fully understand it. In any case, Treeborn Frog comes back, sacked for Ryza, puts Lila on top, attacks over the token, and passes the turn. Keep in mind that Mara Rage could have dealt 6,500 damage earlier. At the cost of both of these cards, 4,600, 4,600, 4,700, 4,600 at the cost of just one of them. And now you're seeing Mara Rage with both these cards kind of rotting in hand, doing nothing, and the opponent at a very survivable life total. In any case, here comes Spot of Avarice. That's going to shuffle back some of these key cards, Black Rose Dragon, Debris Dragon, etc. Caius the Shadow Monarch. 2 new cards drawn, Dandelion drawn, Debris Dragon drawn. Pretty bad. Not having Quick Draw in this hand is really bad. This hand does nothing without Quick Draw. I think Stuffed Cherries is drawn pretty horribly this game, but decks with Titanial, Volcanic Shell, Multiple Avarice, and Caius tend to do that. You kind of have to be careful about how many of these cards you choose to play in your deck and what tech cards you have to support them. Just to set Raikou here is not going to be good enough, I don't think. I feel like you have to go Black Rose Nuke, but I don't know. Sets the Avarice. Ooh, that's not good. That's not good. I don't know why Mara Rage is so against playing their cards. Torrential Tribute's gone. Bring out the Treeborn. Sack for Mobius. Pop the back row. What are you waiting for? I don't understand. Literally, what are you waiting for? The Mobius, it's not getting better. All right, Raikou's going to target the Ryza, mill 3. You're just playing into your opponent's cards for no reason. Put on some pressure. Do something here. What if that's a hamster? They grab a Raikou. All of a sudden, they have Raikou Caius live. You're just getting cooked. Still dying with Brain Control, Enemy Controller in hand. So weird. I can't believe neither of them missed that double normal summon. That's wild. I've never seen that before. Anyway, here comes Lila. Lila can now break the back row, force the back row at least. Lila was redrawn off the Ryza mill. Avarice can be activated. Yeah, Avarice could have been activated. There's literally no reason for them not to activate Avarice here. But they just didn't for no reason. I don't fully understand what they were thinking, but that's that, I suppose. Treeborn's going to come back, and now Mobius is going to finally destroy that? No? No? Okay, we're going to... This has been a weird game. I'm not going to lie. This has been a weird game. I didn't really watch it the first time through, and I'm just like, oh, maybe they'll play their cards at some point. Maybe they just want to have a good time, you know? Maybe they're here for a long time, not a optimal time or whatever. Spine Gilman going to deal 1,700. Value, if I've ever seen it. Set Threatening Roar and pass. I guess we still don't want an Enemy Controller and Brain Control ever. They just don't need to be used. Keep in mind, Mara Rage, using this Brain Control, could have dealt 4,600 damage earlier. Elected not to. Here comes Pot of Avarice. That Titanial still rotting in hand. Double Shell now. Heavy Storm also dead in this matchup. Avarice going to shovel back some cards. I think the issue with these types of Volcanic decks is just how many bricks that they play. Gores being found is insane because now it means that none of this shit matters. None of this pressure matters. Brain Control, Enemy Controller. They're going to need multiple turns to at least force through that Gores. Debris Dragon's going to bring back Dandelion and blow up the field. Threatening Roar is going to get chained, but that doesn't matter. Nothing's attacking this turn. I think at the end phase, Heavy Storm is going to get discarded and Volcanic Shell is going to get discarded. Or just Double Shell. That's cool too. Yeah, maybe hold Heavy Storm because they have some trap cards you might want to force. Here comes nothing. Treeborn. Keep in mind that Mobius could have destroyed that Avarice. There's literally no reason this card should have not been played. Like, I don't... Anyway, set Scapegoat, pass the turn. Here comes Caius. Caius is going to target the Treeborn. That's one Treeborn banished. Caius is going to attack. Here comes Scapegoat. And now I think you're in a bad spot. I think you're in a bad spot if you're Stuffed Cherries. I think you're actually just dead here. Because it was only a matter of time before the Brain Control and Enemy Controller killed you. Sure, it would have killed you 16 turns earlier, but now Treeborn comes back. You sack it for Mobius. You Brain Control the Caius. You Enemy Controller the token to attack. You attack over it with Caius. They take 2,400, and you've killed them through Gores. Let's see if that's what happens. No, we don't play around Gores. We don't play around Gores in this house. That's spectacular gameplay. Spectacular gameplay. So we are going to burn our Enemy Controller. And we're also going to sacrifice the resource that is non-renewable. Salvage is going to get played. Going to bring back Swap Frog, Deep Sea Diva. Summon Swap Frog, tax the token, tax directly for 2400. Gores is going to get played. But now you can't even fucking convert this Caius, which you took. So what was the fucking point of that? What was the point of all this? I don't think you could have played this turn in a worse way. I don't think you could have played it in a worse way. And now, you know about Deep Sea Diva. You can just summon Titanium. And that should be that. I mean, like... Wait, can you win this turn? Is it possible to win this turn? Hold up. 4,400. So if you pitch... You have to normal summon Shell if you want to make a quick draw synchro. Because your board is locked. That's awkward. Okay, hold up. Let's think here. Let's think here. Let's think here. If you double sack for Titanium... Is there a quick draw synchron that does it? So, like, let's say you go double sack for Titanium. You have Titanium, you have Gores. You pitch Dandy for quick draw. You make Junk Archers. You have 3 bodies. You banish one of these. It still doesn't kill. So it puts you in an awkward spot. I think your best play is probably just... There's got to be a kill here, right? There's got to be something I'm missing. What can you make with quick draw? That's like 6-star, you have Turbo Warrior, you have Drill. And then 7-star, you have Nitro, which you can't proc. Does Nitro have an ability when it like attacks over a defense position monster? Hold up. I gotta look this up. Hold up. Hold up, everybody. Hold up, everybody. We're gonna look up if Nitro Warrior has an ability when he destroys a defense position. Because I think he does. I think he does do something when he destroys a defense position monster by battle. I think there's like an effect he has that works. Nitro Warrior. Hold up. If you missed yesterday's video, it has. We played this deck in it. Okay, what does this guy do? If this attacking card destroys an opponent's monster by battle after damage calculation, you can target one face-up defense position monster your opponent controls. Change that target to attack position, then this card can make a second attack in a row on that monster. Okay, so you do have game. You do have game, right? Where were we? Were we here? Yeah, we were here. So, double sack for Titanium. Pitch Dandy, special quick draw, make Nitro Warrior. Nitro Warrior attack over Treeborn, turn a token to attack over that for 2,800, attack over the token with Gores, and then directly with Titanium. So you do have a lethal line here if you're stuffed cherries. He's not going to find it. I mean, there's no shot he finds this. Yeah, he didn't find it. I mean, this doesn't kill. So, yeah, he's just missing lethal, which is... That's just how it goes sometimes. I don't think it's going to end up mattering. I don't think there's really anything that can happen here. But yeah, he did have lethal there. He did have lethal. So there's missed lethal on both sides. People just fumbling bags here and there. No Titanium in play. So this brain control is actually going to be pretty good. I wonder if he can piece together 1,600 damage. Probably, right? If there's a Gilman still in the deck or a 3-star still in the deck, Bryonic wins. So there's that. Here comes Treeborn, Moray of Greed. Okay, don't want to do that until you've gotten the Archer out of deck. Wow, what a bad play. That was almost a choke. Okay, here comes the Archer. Here comes Pitch Special. Jesus Christ, just make Bryonic. Just bounce all 3 and then win the... Oh my god. What an insane game. I mean, this also works too. Armory Arm also works, but yeah, that's crazy. I guess this works through Battle Fader, which is slightly better. Slightly better. So yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay. They found the lethal line eventually. I mean, after like 80 turns of both of them fumbling the bag. Next game, we've got Mermaid Archer, Deep Sea Divas in hand. We've got Solemn Judgment, powerful card, Mystical Space Typhoon, sus as fuck. Did you really have nothing better to side in than Mystical Space Typhoon? But I guess we'll find out. Draws for turn is Volcanic Shell. So these shells rotting in hand without quick draw. Really need to see quick draw with this type of thing. Torrential is very good versus Diva Frogs though, and so is Solemn Judgment. So this is a pretty good hand. You could set Dandy here. Miss lethal from Stuffed Cherries on the last game, definitely costing them. And then the miss lethal from Mara Rage, not costing as much because they found the lethal line eventually. Sets 2, sets Dandy, passes the turn. Sets 3, sets Dandy. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. You just want to get the Typhoon down in case they have back row. Now, if you're Mara Rage, you're probably Moray. Yep. Moray going to shuffle back a Diva and an Archer. You could have tried to summon Diva, grab Gilman first before you go for the Moray, but I don't think there's a chance they draw Gilman, right? Kappa. Okay, draws Scapegoat and Regeki Break. 2 back row that can actually get hit by that Space Typhoon. So maybe the Space Typhoon isn't as silly as I initially thought. This is still probably summon Diva. Just set Scapegoat. Wild. And no use of MST. Also wild. Again, if you're playing this deck, this plant deck, versus this frog deck, how many back row do they really have? Let's be real. How many back row are they really going to have for your MST? End phase, destroy that shit. Come on. In any case, it doesn't really matter. Here comes Lone Fire Blossom off the top, which is going to be crushing. Titanial is insane versus matchup, usually. That being said, Deep Sea Diva can make Catastor, which is pretty fucking good. So this is going to attack. Here comes 500, 500, and then 2800 maybe? Scapegoat on the 28. And there's Solemn Judgment on the Scapegoat. That doesn't make any sense. You just let him have the tokens and Solemn Judgment the normal summon, and then you kill all the tokens next turn, and you got the normal summon and the full turn out of it. And you can, oh my god. You Solemn something you could have Typhooned. That's so tilting. That's so tilting. That's just like resource mismanagement 101. Classic stuff, classic stuff. Deep Sea Diva gonna summon out Spine Gilman. This is gonna make Catastor. No. No, it's going to attack over the 2 Lone Fires. Why would you not just clear the Titanial? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me why you wouldn't just clear the Titanial. I can't believe the Space Typhoon's actually getting value. Not that it would have mattered. Titanial can negate this shit. But here comes Caius for game. And we're going to game 3. That was a crazy game. A lot of misplays. Opening hand, Diva Archer again. Substitute, still very powerful. Mirror Force, questionable. It does out Drill Warrior, does out Titanial, which is good, but you have Diva for Titanial. It's questionable. It's not bad. It's questionable. On the other side, you see Raikou, you see Card Trooper. Normally, I like leaving these in if you have Pulling the Rug. So, potentially Stuffed Cherries has Pulling the Rug, but Mara Rage does get the advantage of going first here, which is huge. Draws Vanity's Fiend. That's a house in this matchup. Substone's going to activate. Going to go get Swap Frog, send Treeborn Frog, and bounce. Is there anything else you could have done that turn? You could have summoned Diva and gotten Gilman, and then just chilled on that. That would have been fine too. Set Mirror Force maybe, but you probably don't need to. Nothing's really attacking you over both those monsters on the first turn of the game anyway. Yeah, you probably could have set Mirror Force. Doesn't really matter. Yeah. Thunder King the draw. Absolutely terrible card to side in versus Frogs, but it does have that little application versus Deep Sea Diva stuff. So Thunder King, while I do think it's very bad against Frogs in general, doesn't attack over any of the Monarchs, doesn't attack over Dupe Frog, doesn't attack over Substitute, doesn't really do well into Treeborn Frog, walling it out turn after turn, doesn't really shut off any search cards, they don't play any search cards, doesn't really shut off the Monarchs in general, the Monarch just gets summoned, rise up, target Thunder King, is just like embarrassingly bad for you. It can stop the Deep Sea Diva activation into a synchro. That's like one thing it can stop, kind of. But Deep Sea Diva can just get Mermaid Archer. Mermaid Archer can just equip the Diva, and it can just run over the Thunder King anyway. So it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad in this matchup. Not something I'd ever recommend siding in. I wonder if he sets Raikou. He doesn't. Good. I was going to say setting Raikou is pretty bad here because you just get Monarched and you cry. But Card Trooper activate is the more proactive play. You do hit one monster. You mill a third Avarice. You're probably pretty fucking happy you're not drawing that. At this point in the game. Attack for 1900, pass the turn back, and there comes Caius off the top. That is a beautiful Caius. Electing to go for Vanity's Fiend. That's pretty bad. I think you go for Caius here. Vanity's Fiend is better later. You don't want to give them a draw here. You don't want them to have access to Raikou next turn. Next turn, you can't even summon Caius because your Treeborn's not coming back unless you're sacking your Vanity's Fiend. So you're just cucking yourself by summoning Vanity's Fiend here. You're actually hurting yourself. Whereas your opponent, if you Caius target their Card Trooper, you don't even have to attack into Gores. You're winning next turn because then you have Caius plus Vanity's Fiend set up, and you're just fucking cooking basically at that point. Anyway, you do deal damage, but the damage is negligible. Set Mirror Force. That's pretty bad because now you're forced to use it if your Vanity's Fiend gets outed to be able to special summon back Treeborn Frog. So I think this position set up by Mara Rage here is pretty lackluster. The draw being Cyber Dragon, that's kind of a meme. Raikou actually getting value here is so fucking funny. Gores being the draw, also funny into Vanity's Fiend, but that's just because What the fuck are you doing, dude? What the fuck are you doing? Why are you setting Avarice? You have Gores in hand. My brother in Christ. Holy shit. What if Raikou outs the Vanities and then your Gores is live? You don't have 7 cards. Oh my god, I've never seen a play more cursed than this. Here comes Swap Frog. Swap Frog's going to send Treeborn. You attack with Vanities first. Raiko's going to pop the Vanities. And now you're just not dropping Gores for no fucking reason. That's insane. Swap Frog getting into 1,000. And you're probably kicking yourself for setting that Avarice at this point. Swap Frog going to bounce. Pass the turn. Mirror Force set here. Misplay. Avarice set here. Misplay. Double Dandelion in hand. Cyber Dragon Thunder King looking laughably bad. Looking actually horrible here. Pot of Avarice completely dead, but it's going to be live as soon as that Thunder King connects into Mirror. Wow. We're just not going to attack with Thunder King into Mirror Force. That's crazy. That's fucking insane. I definitely would have summoned Thunder King and attacked there. Now he can pitch special Swap Frog, sack that for a Monarch, and target your Dandelion, and you're just sitting here looking like a fool because you have 4 monsters in your grave. What the fuck are you thinking? Oh my gosh. Dude, pass. Here comes sack Dandy for Cyber Dragon. Dandy's going to make some tokens. This has been the most awkward match I've ever watched. Honestly, one of the most awkward matches I've ever seen. Not going to attack. Potentially going to attack. Oh, let's activate the Pot of Avarice from hand. Not the one that's set locking up our Gores. That's a great idea. Let's keep locking up our Gores. Insane sequencing from the opponent here. Also, Heavy Storm still in the deck against the deck that has nothing but chainable back row. Actually crazy. The fact that there's even a back row in that's not chainable is pretty fucking silly. It's like this is their first game. This could potentially be their first game. I don't mean to roast these players that hard, but god damn, this has been a sloppy game. Anyway, here comes Swap Frog. That's gonna, I think Swap Frog, right? Is that what was happening? Play. Next play. What's happening? Next play, next play, next play. What's happening? Am I missing something? Did it bug? It might have bugged. Holy shit. That game was brutal. What game is this? Game 3? Alright, I'm going to refresh it and see if the replay was bugged. It might have just been a bugged replay. That happens sometimes. Jesus Christ, those first 2 games were gnarly. Oh my god. I don't know what to say. That kind of broke me as a man. We saw all this, man. We're just recounting it. I have to watch all these replays again because I can't, like, come on, man. Next play, next play, next play, next play, next play, next play. Jesus Christ, some of the Kai is here. Holy fuck. It's like I'm writing the script or something, or it's like fucking ChatGPT's playing its first game of Edison. Swap Frog's gonna send. Vanity's Fiend attacks the Raikou. Swap Frog attacks directly. At least they got that right. Shit. Swap Frog bounce, pass the turn. Why the fuck did you ever set that Avarice? It doesn't make any fucking sense. What are you trying to bluff? What are you trying to bluff? You're just cucking your own hand. Oh my god. Okay. Here comes Cyber Dragon attack the Dude Frog. Pass the turn. I think this is where we were. Pitch special swap. That's going to send Substitoad. Attack the token. Why are we doing things this way? That seems like the least efficient way to spend all of these cards. You got 0 damage out of a Caius and an enemy controller. That's crazy. You also spent Substitoad and Swap Frog. That's crazy. 0 damage for all that is fucking crazy. I don't know what to tell you. Treeborn Frog can't come back because this Mirror Force is still locking it up. Actually insane. Oh my god. Hilarious. He didn't Mirror Force the Cyber Dragon. That's wild. He spent all of that just to out a fucking Cyber Dragon and a set Pot of Avarice. That's so wild. Oh my fucking god. Moray of Greed, returning Archer and Swap Frog. Draws 3 new cards. Draws into Gilman. Gotta be kicking yourself for that. Diva bring out the Archer. Go ahead and attack. This is going to clear both Dandy tokens. Pretty happy about all this. That Gores is looming, but the Thunder Kings look so bad here. Look at this hand. It's literally just 3 cards that should not be in your deck versus Frogs and Gores, which you cucked the entire game by setting Pot of Avarice. This Gores is literally sitting in the cuck chair right now. He's like watching this game get fucked. He's watching your life points get fucked. Literally insane that this is happening. I don't fucking understand what is going on. Make Stardust Dragon to protect the Mirror Force that you really don't even fucking want set there. But yeah, I mean, that's just the move. Here comes Heavy Storm. You have a Stardust Dragon. You have a Stardust Dragon. Negate the Heavy Storm at least. What is the point of this? What is the point of the Stardust Dragon if not to protect the Mirror Force? Why make Stardust Dragon if you're not going to protect Mirror Force? Why even make this card? Why not make Colossal Fighter the better card? Oh my gosh, this is insane. Here comes Ancient Fairy, and that's going to make 2 tokens, and now we've entered the stalemate zone. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the stalemate zone. Passes the turn. Never mind. We have Bryonic. Folks, we have Bryonic. No target. We're going to make Bryonic. Okay, Catastor works too. Catastor works too. Plays less into Gores. Yeah, you want to drop the Vanities before you go for Gores. Sure, that kind of makes sense. Thunder King's looking hilarious. The Titanial's looking hilarious. The Gores, he says, I made a mistake. I should have left Treeborn in attack as well. I would have been punished bad by Caius. That's fair. What? How would you have been punished? Caius target Stardust. Caius would have had to hit the Stardust Dragon. Should have special summoned from Ancient Fairy in defense. What are you special summon a Ryo in defense? Literally, that's what that's what you should have done. That's the mistake you're reflecting on. Not setting Avarice 16 turns earlier, not leaving in Heavy Storm and boarding in the Ryos to begin with. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm so tilted. We just need to watch another replay. This one is versus the Patio Man and Approximate. Both fire usernames. I feel like Patio Man is like, he's on the patio, bro. He's kicking it back. He's sipping a brewski, you know. He's playing some Edison. And this is by far one of my favorite matchups in the whole format. Zombies versus Zombies. I actually think this is top 2 most fun mirror matches to play in the format. Zombies versus Zombies is, I think, either best or second best mirror match to play next to the Blackwing mirror. I think the Blackwing mirror is by far my favorite mirror match to ever play. So if you're going to build a couple of decks to play with your homies, play with your friends, I think building 2 copies of Zombies is like, it's pretty up there in fun. I'm not going to lie. Anyway, turn 1. We've got main deck Dust Tornado and Starlight Road. This is something we've seen before. RBET first place lists played these. He's setting the Goblin Zombie. Now, I don't really agree with this play. I think you can just like vibe. I think you can just like literally just set Starlight Road, set Dust Tornado, and pass. You don't need to summon this Goblin Zombie. Either that, or you could just set nothing pass, or you could summon the Goblin Zombie. There's a billion different things you could do. I think you want to leave your life points open so you can drop this drag, actually. I think that's the game plan. I don't think you want to be setting these cards here because you want your drag to be good. You either want to set 2, including the road, or you don't want to set anything, but you definitely don't want to be setting Mirror Force plus Dust Tornado because now you're forced to set road. Nice 0-0 trag. That's embarrassingly bad. That's embarrassingly bad. So already off to the races with like a really questionable play. Pyramid Turtle can attack into this Goblin Zombie. You honestly just let this happen. Or you don't. I suppose you want to spend Mirror Force on Pyramid Turtle. The deck that can make Revived King Hades is going to spend a Mirror Force on a Pyramid Turtle. Okay. That's cool too. That's cool too. Dust Tornado going to hit the bottomless trap hole, the random bottomless, and the turn's going to be over. Not going to set the Allure, not going to set the Book of Life, not really going to bluff anything. I think this is definitely one of those hands where you could have considered alluring away the Dark Arm Dragon before going for your thing, but whatever. Here's Double Goblin Zombie. Kind of awkward. You want to summon them both. You don't really want to attack with them both, but you're going to do it. I mean, it's just the way it goes. Here comes 2200 damage. Pretty big deal. Mill's Plague. That's so fucked. That's so fucked. Yeah, Mill's Zombie Master. So 2 darks towards Dark Armed. Of course it Mill's Plague. That's pretty funny. If you are able to search Zombie Master here of your own, you can combo off with your opponent's Plague and basically just kill them, which is really funny. Draws Pyramid Turtle, which is, it's a decent draw. I think you do have to, what do you do here? I think you do have to allure. I think you do have to allure. Wow, Maximum Greed. I was thinking you would allure. Because, like, there's a chance you want to stack for Plague and make Revive King if you find Heavy. Because Revive King on this board is pretty fucking good. I don't know, though. It is questionable. We're just going to attack a Goblin Zombie. Trag specialed. Plague is searched. Book of Life, main 2, maybe? But what do you even bring out? That's pretty bad. I mean, like, you have to do this to stop their Revive King from fucking destroying your shit. But now you get Mizuki murdered. You do have 3 darks, but he can just Bryonic bounce the Revive King to play around Dad, and game's over. Pyramid Turtle to draw. Normal Summon Plague. Synchro to Bryonic. Doom Kaiser Dragon. That's just not game, though. Actually, that just doesn't do anything, does it? I guess you get their Plague. You can make Bryonic with Trag. Pitch Mizuki. Oh, I guess it is still. Is it still game? 24 plus 23 is 47 plus Goblin Zombie. It's exact game. It's exact game. Okay. No, it is still game. You bring back your opponent's plague. You search Mizuki. You Mizuki bounce the Revive King, and that should be exact game. Pretty much. I like going for the Revive King before. Stack for your plague. Allure away your Dark Armed. You're not getting a chance to use this Dark Arm this game. It's pretty sad to see Allure with Dark Armed Dragon in your hand when you died. When you could have played that like 4 or 5 turns before. Sometimes you just gotta do it. You can't get greedy here. I mean, like, you have to have a live hand. It doesn't really matter if Dark Arm Dragon's broken if it's stuck in your hand. Doom Kaiser's gonna bring back Zombie Master. That's yet another way you could lethal, honestly. Pitches Mizuki, brings out Plague. Mizuki, bring out Bionic, searches. Even better. Even better than what I was thinking of. I didn't remember that Patio Man had Goblin Zombie, or not Goblin Zombie, Zombie Master in the graveyard. So yeah, that's gonna be game 1. One player comboed off, one player got too greedy, held his Allure, held his Dark Armed, and that's why I think this matchup's really fun, because it's pretty skill intensive, and the combos are really cool because you get to play with your opponent's graveyard. Speaking of playing with your opponent's graveyard, both players have DD Crow, but they are also still playing zombies, which means that, you know, DD Crow is good. It stops one of the graveyards, but doesn't stop the other graveyard, which is another piece that they can combo off with. So a lot of this game is going to be making sure you get your Plague banished, making sure you control your own graveyard as much as you're controlling your opponent's. Draw for turn is Mind Control. Really decent opening here. You can pretty much just pass if you want to. You could do nothing. You could do something. You could commit the Goblin Zombie if you want to. I'm probably committing the Goblin Zombie here. You just want to find Plague ASAP because you have Mind Control. So yeah, that's what's happening. Nox going to get used. Pyramid Turtle's going to get summoned. Pyramid Turtle's going to attack. Gores is going to get dropped. So now we're at a situation where Gores is in play, Pyramid Turtle's in play, there's a back row in play, but Gores doesn't really do so hot into Pyramid Turtle. That's kind of an issue. You can't really get through this guy. He's annoying as shit. He's a little bit of a frustrating character. That being said, you can Foolish Plague, and you can stack for it, you can Mind Control the Turtle, and you can Synchro off and go for an early push. But that loses to just about every back row in the game, and also loses to DD Crow, which you have to assume has been sided in because you yourself sided it in. Burial from the Different Dimension, decent draw. It can bring back the Plague after you foolish it, and it inevitably gets crowed. But it's gonna go for something a little bit greedier. Normal summon Spear Reaper. Attack with just the Reaper. Hits the turtle out of the hand. Passes back the Pyramid Turtle. So what he did was he traded the Mind Control for 300 damage and a random card in his opponent's hand. I think it's a pretty shit use of Mind Control, especially when you have Foolish Burial to send Plague, especially when you can try at least to synchro with this. If they have DD Crow, okay, you traded a card in your hand for their DD Crow. That's pretty fucking good, I think. At least. Maybe. I don't fucking know. Anyway, here comes Caius. That's going to banish the Gores, deal 1,000. Caius is going to run over the token. I actually probably would have just attacked the Reaper. I mean, the token's not doing anything in play. There's no real way for the zombie deck to synchro with the token because they don't play 1-star tuners. Just get your damage. Make your later OTK much easier. They're not doing anything to you with DD Crow in their hand. They can still sack for Caius because they have Reaper. So, yeah, I think it's pretty much this. If they had Caius last turn, they would have sacked for it to clear the turtle instead of doing the weird-ass Mind Control play. And they could just send for Plague. But yeah, here we are. What's next? Zombie Master's a draw. Does he have Plagues in the grave? No. Interesting. Probably just switch Reaper pass is what I would do. Why are you going for it now? Why did we not go for it last turn? That is pretty bad. Because now you have a Plague in the grave. And your opponent can combo with it. They can combo with it. If they have Zombie Master, they can do some shit. Set Goblin Zombie, pass the turn. Probably after setting the Compulse 2. Yep. Book of Life is found, but that's going to lose to DD Crow. And it also doesn't really amount to anything quite yet. So I think you just pass. People just want to play their cards. People just want to play their cards. So here's the thing. With zombies, you got to get resources built up, you know? You got to get resources built up to where you can overload your opponent. The opponent has one back row. Whatever the fuck you can go for here is going to get stopped by the one back row. Whatever you go for here is going to get stopped by it. So Just wait until you have more resources. You need to overload what your opponent has in play. You're spending multiple cards here to not even overload what your opponent has in play. It's just like throwing away cards. These cards are much better used when you've drawn your sweeper, when you're drawing your whatever. You can sit here for fucking ever behind this Reaper. Even if they clear it, I mean, you still have infinite life points. And, well, I guess you're down a game, but even if this resolves, what are you getting? You're getting a Goyo that can attack into a fucking known back row and run over a Caius? Like, maybe that works? And then your opponent still has a set monster in play that they can do stuff with. And you still have a fucking Plague Spreader in your graveyard that your opponent can combo off with. So it's just really fucking awkward position to be in my opinion. Burial's going to return all 3 darks. Generally speaking, not ideal, but here we are. Book of Life's going to target Goblin Zombie. Book of Life still does banish, so even if DD Crow gets activated, Book of Life will resolve as much as possible. It's similar to Salvage in that respect. Not like Pot of Avarice, where it stops the entire effect. This will still banish the turtle, so there should be a Pyramid Turtle banished here. Not that it matters because he has 2, but yeah. And as you can see, he basically just spent 2 cards to get fucking owned by DD Crow, which is crazy. That being said, it did force the DD Crow, so now his Plague can actually do something, but you don't really have anything to actually do with the Plague anyway into 1 back row. So 2 cards into 1 interruption. Pretty bad use of those 2 cards, in my opinion. I think you just hold it and you just vibe. In any case, that's a book, passes, that's a recruiter, passes, that's passes. Spirit Reaper is so fucking funny in this matchup, but yeah. Didn't set the Phoenix Wing, doesn't make a whole lot of sense there, but I guess you want to keep the Crow for the interaction. Anyway, there's really no reason not to set the Phoenix Wing though, unless you're like scared of Heavy Storm. Specifically, here comes Book of Life. That's going to target both Plague. Now, your Plague should also be banished. So that is game altering. Neither player knows this ruling, but yeah, you should definitely learn how that works if you're playing this deck. That is a big part of this deck. You have main deck DD Crows in Book of Life, even through DD Crow in Game 2 and Game 3. Mirror Force to draw, not really going to do anything. Goblin Zombie, why was it flipped before you Book of Life? I feel like, I don't know, folks. Set the Mirror Force, pass. There we go. Caius the Shadow Monarch, that's finally an out to the Reaper. You have to imagine it's getting slammed. He's taking 1,000. He's searching Mizuki Zombie Master. Now this is the issue of having that Plague in the grave from earlier, which you should have stacked and tried to synchro with the Pyramid Turtle. Even if you go into the back row, at least you're clearing the Pyramid Turtle and you don't have to worry about some crazy shit happening to you next turn. Caius is going to attack. Here comes Mirror Force. Most obvious Mirror Force, my fucking life. Yeah. Set Goblin Zombie, set Wind Blast. Should have been set this entire time, but whatever. Passes the turn. Mystic Tomato attacks the set. No real reason to attack the sets here. You should just not do that. You have 2 Kai's gun though, so it's going to be pretty hard for you to play through the back row. Honestly, you should just wait though. You should build up resources. You should wait until you can go Zombie Master, bring back Plague, make Revive King, run over this after clearing your opponent's back row. More or less. Goblin Zombie is going to search Mizuki. Back row Torrential is going to get set. Torrential pretty bad when you have a Mystic Tomato here. Sets Call of the Haunted, passes a turn. Here comes Zombie Master. This is going to be okay. This is going to work. 1400. Call of the Haunted is going to target Goblin Zombie. What the fuck? I guess your life total's kind of low, but like, it's not that low. You can just call Goblin Zombie next turn, right? And combo off. If you're going to call something to protect your life total, you just call Gorge, right? I guess you could crash the tomato. I don't know. I feel like calling Goblin Zombie there is a little bit sus, but he's searching a Zombie Master, so he's going to make a play next turn, maybe. Books Zombie Master, sets a back row. So my body is a shield. Not very good, but Compulsory and Torrential. Torrential's pretty bad because it destroys all your own shit, but Compulsory is pretty good versus zombies. I actually think it's one of the best cards in the mirror match and versus zombies in general. Not only can you set them back on tempo if they're playing Diva stuff, they do need 2 normal summons to ever really combo you, or normal summon plus double extender, which is pretty rare in their draws. It's like either Book of Life Dark Armed or double Book of Life, or Book of Life Call the Haunted, or Book of Life Return, or Return Call. But again, it's pretty rare for them to have that plus Diva, as opposed to them having normal summon into wait a turn into normal summon Diva, which is the common play, and Compulsory is pretty good against that. And then Compulsory is also very good against Resolve Synchros. If they go Bryonic, target your Compulsory, you chain Compulsory, target the Bryonic, and you put them in an awkward spot, basically, where they've spent a bunch of cards, 3 cards usually, into this, which is pretty good. It's pretty good. Zombie Master gets summoned, attacks over the other Zombie Master, and passes the turn. after setting Torrential Tribute. Now he can Phoenix Wing this Mystic Tomato and totally grief him here, which is pretty nasty. Mystic Tomato is going to attack. Phoenix Wing is going to activate, targeting Mystic Tomato, and that's going to look really silly. That's going to look really silly. Now you're just looking at this Zombie Master, and it's pretty awkward. Zombie Master's going to attack for 1800, not playing into Torrential, which is kind of nice. But then again, this Mystic Tomato could just attack again here, so it's like, what was the idea? Why did he not attack again? Why did he want to attack last turn but not this turn? Does anyone know? Does anyone know this, the history behind this? Why would you not attack last? Why would you not try to get a Goblin Zombie? I don't. What changed? Nothing changed. Literally nothing changed. Anyway, here comes Allure of Darkness. Now he's playing Allure of Darkness, not getting greedy, holding the Crow as interaction. I honestly might have even waited there. Crow's a pretty solid piece of interaction in this matchup, but shit, alright. Space Typhoon gets set. Here comes Flip's Mystic Tomato. There's Torrential Tribute, the activation. Wild. Crazy that you would Torrential your own Zombie Master. I feel like Zombie Master is like such a good threat in this matchup, and the Tomato is just going to have to crash into the Zombie Master anyway. I feel like you just let that happen. Like, what could he possibly get? Literally, what could he possibly get? Reaper? Okay. Just let it chill. Until you draw an out. He gets a Goblin Zombie? Okay. Who cares? You just make Revive King. Like, what could he possibly get that outs your Zombie Master? You just leave the Zombie Master and play. You're fucking winning off the Zombie Master. Anyway, yeah. If he goes for fucking Caius, then you just... He's actually going to negate that Torrential? Shit, I'd be happy with that Torrential. That's crazy. Anyway... 400 gonna crash. Now you can't really do anything about this, right? You just get Goblin Zombie, tag Zombie Master. Sure. What was the fucking point of that? What was the point of all that? Space Typhoon's the new one. Book of Life. This plays into Torrential. This also plays into Compulsory. He's going to let that resolve. Wow. Okay. Here comes Plague. Synchro into Yugioh Guardian. Goblin Zombie attack effect activates. No target. We're just not using the... What? Are we... I don't understand. Like, why would you not use the compulsory, the fucking, not compulsory, sorry, the Torrential here? Holy shit. These games are insanely confusing. I'm, like, trying to think what's going on in these players' heads. I don't fully understand them. I feel like I need some sort of substance that, like, alters my brain state in order to understand. Maybe some sort of, like manufactured cheaper version of cocaine that's cooked with baking soda. Like I think something that, you know, if you were to try and purchase it on the street, you would call it crack. I feel like I would need that to try and understand what the fuck is going on. Torrential Tribute here. Why the fuck are we not... Save your compulsory, Torrential, Mizuki, bring back whatever the fuck, Zombie Master, and just kill your opponent the next turn. What the fuck is going on? What? And then why did he concede? Why did he concede then? Why did he concede? Zombie Master is still bigger. Fucking Mizuki. Am I missing something? Could have stacked for Plague, made Revive King. Could have done a million other things. What the fuck is going on here? That was a challenging game to understand. Alright, next replay. We got Mercenary 1 versus SoFlo 1, 2, 3. We've got some fire sleeves. I like the Millennium Puzzle sleeves. I also love the Yugi sleeves. Black Wings versus Diva Hero. Classic Edison format matchup. Black Whirlwind, Bora, Search Blizzy. You know what's up. Set Starlight Road, set Bottomless Trap Hole. How the fuck do you lose with this opening? That's the real question. That being said, this is a bad matchup for Black Wings. This is not a good matchup for Black Wings. Hero Beat does a pretty good job versus Black Wings. So let's see what he's able to piece together. Skill Drain, sus. D-Prison, solid. Solemn Judgment, solid. Miracle Fusion needs some help. Gemini Spark needs some help, but if he can survive the next few turns, I mean, he's just chilling. He's going to set 4, pass the turn, I'm assuming. Oh, man, Shura was the draw. That's a crazy draw. I mean, you just have to summon it, right? Activate Whirlwinds. That's going to get solemned. Kind of has to get solemned. And this is going to get deprisoned. Kind of has to get deprisoned. Yep. Baiting an Icarus. Icarus isn't activated. And you're probably pretty happy about that if you're self low. If you're self low, you probably shouldn't have set the Gemini Spark here, honestly. But yeah, deprison another draw. Not too bad. Not too terrible, but you would have liked something a little bit better here. Ocean attack, little bit sus, but yeah, you are exposing yourself to a Sirocco normal summon. But you do know about the Blizzy, so it's kind of just like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. I'd honestly bottomless this if I was a mercenary. Once you see Ocean, you see a bunch of back row, you're like, all right, I'll just cut you off your water. If you have Miracle Fusions, they're cucked now. If you have anything else, it's cucked now. Your normal summon's done. Yeah, you can attack over the Ocean, but are you really resolving anything through 3 back row? If this Ocean sticks around, it's actually kind of annoying for you. Here comes Sirocco. Whirlwind activates, searches Gale. What's going to happen here? Special Gale, have the Ocean. Skill Drain's going to get used. You're probably fine with that. You just want your opponent to take damage at this point. I think you just attack with both. Sirocco attacks. There's the deprison. Gale attacks. I would have almost certainly attacked with the Gale there. I feel like it's a little silly not to. You're giving him another opportunity to draw Deprison or a Mirror Force. And you're letting him stalemate, which is not good for you. I don't think that is a good play. But he is going to attack into Kalut. So there's that. Sets Compulse, passes a turn. Deprisons the draw. Blizzy is activated. Searches Value. Blizzy can't resolve under Skill Drain, but this is just going to be game. We're moving on to the next one. Oh. Maybe not. Maybe not yet. We're definitely moving on to the next one. He's going to draw 1 card. He's going to find Alias instead of... Or he's going to find Stratos instead of Alias. I feel like you have to grab Alias, right? Because of Spark, but it doesn't really matter. You're just done there. You're just cooked. You're just over. Game over. GG's. No re. This game, Stratos start, everything you could have possibly asked for. He has Deprisons. He has Hero Blast. He has Gemini Lancer, which is not a good card, but it's in his hand. He's got Hero Blast. I already said that. He's got Hero Blast. I'm just kidding. All right. Opening hand here from the Blackwing player. Pretty bad. Compulsory can answer Resolved Absolute 0, but in general, it's not super good against these types of hero decks with Gemini Spark and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Sets 2. Passes the turn. This is pretty awkward. You deprisoning this? I might have deprisoned that. Just banish it, man. Just don't take this pressure. The more pressure you take from this hero beat deck, the more threatening it becomes. You really don't ever want this deck to pressure life total. Just keep the monsters banished, keep them out of play, and then you should be fine. Dust Tornado is the set from SoFlo. See if that gets traded. It does. Dust trades for Dust. Dark Arm the draw. Really fucking awkward. I think you're just passing again. But yeah, again, you're taking this damage every single turn. Should have deprisoned it the last turn. Now you've taken 36 for no fucking reason. Mind Control is not a bad draw, though. It should let you play through most things. You're going to be able to summon Blizzy, Mind Control the monster, Synchro off into Armed Wing. Armed Wing attacks. Deprison's going to get used. You do book it here. You kind of fucking have to, so you can resolve your Dark Arm Dragon at some point. Pass a turn. Don't set the Compulsory, which is interesting, but not terrible. Here comes E-Call for Alias. Summon Alias. Attack over the Armed Wing. You consider dropping Kalut here, so you can special Dark Armed on your next turn. But it looks like he didn't consider it. I would have definitely thought about dropping Kalut there. You can use Kalut on a defense position monster. Definitely would have thought about it. Because there's a chance if this Dark Arm resolves, you just crush. That being said, yeah, that's going to cost. Compulsory looking pretty bad. Kalut looking not so great in the hand. Definitely wanted to get set there, right? So you could actually play this Dark Armed. He just took way too much damage, dude. Just took way too much damage. Set pass. Yeah, you're just done. He could have even summoned into these cards. I don't know why he didn't. Has to Compulsory the Alias. That's so laughably bad. He's down 8 cards to 4. Could have had a live Dark Arm Dragon at the very least. Ocean gets summoned. Oh my god. Insult to injury. He's going to beat you with the Ocean, brother. That's not where you want to be. Brain Control takes the Ocean. Synchros into Yugioh. Special summon Dark Arm. Does he actually win this one? Chain Shadow Imprisoning. Chain Typhoon. Attacks with both. Oh no. There's no way he's walking away with this. There's no way Mercenary's walking away with this victory. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Can we just once talk about how busted Mind Control and Brain Control are? These cards are so broken. Probably, Mind Control is the top 5 spell card. I don't know about Brain Control. Brain Control might be 6th. But I know Future Fusion's number 1, right? What's number 2? Probably Heavy Storm Giant, True Nade, Mind Control, Brain Control. Those are the big ones that come to mind. Black Whirlwind's really good too, within the context of the format. Rhoda, maybe. Hard to say. Allure of Darkness is really powerful. I need to reflect on that, actually. Top 10 spell cards in Edison format. Mind Control and Brain Control are probably top 5. They're both probably top 5, and you're seeing the effects of it here. Brain Dark Harmed. Still insane. That's insane. That's insane. I can't believe Mercenary steals this one. That's insane. He's just going to go after the back rows. Yep. That's crazy. That's fucking nuts. What an absolute steal. I love watching these games, man. I love watching some of these games. Now that game with the frog player, I didn't really love that watching that one, but this one was something else. A lot of back and forth. Shadow, Imprisoning Mirror, trading with the Typhoon too. So fucking unlucky. Especially after you already dusted the dust. You got Mind Controlled, Brain Controlled out of this fucking universe, dude. That was nuts. God damn. And then the last replay I got for you guys, quality video, long video, is between Comb Combo and Kaios. And as you can see, Kaios is playing 6 Samurai, and Comb Combo is playing Volcanic Burn. There's a reason I wanted to show you guys this little bit of a replay. Starts off with 6 Samurai United. Not very good. Not very good here. He has no 6 Samurai monsters to summon. He only has Xian's Footsoldier. But if this guy dies, you do get a special summon of 6 Samurai from your deck. Sets D Prison. Passes a turn. Xian's Foot Soldier, generally speaking, garbage. Just cut it from your deck. Play 40. Passes a turn. Volcanic counters a draw. Swords of Revealing Light is going to reveal Xian's Foot Soldier. You're going to summon Volcanic Rocket. Search Blaze Accelerator. Blaze Accelerator is really good in this deck because it can be used to pitch Volcanic Counter as well. Pitches Volcanic Counter. Pops the Foot Soldier. Passes the turn. This is turn 1 for Swords of Revealing Light. Cunning of the 6 Samurai gets set. Cunning of the 6 Samurai, also garbage card. Just cut it from your deck. Don't play it. It just doesn't do anything in this format. Passes the turn. Attacks directly for 1900. Gets in the chip damage, which these burn decks love to do. Loves to get in the chip damage. It just makes your win that much easier to pull off. Main phase 2 sets Morphing Jar. Alright. Sets the Morphing Jar. I like the Morphing Jar getting set here. Passes the turn. Hand of the 6 Samurai. Okay. I see this. Special summons out Grandmaster of the 6. United gets activated. Draws 2 new cards. Now we're cooking. Sacrifices hand, I'm assuming. Sacrifice hand, pop the set monster. Yep, pops the set monster. Sets the back row. Double-edged sword technique. Pretty bad against burn, all things considered. Was there an opportunity to deprison this rocket? I feel like that should have got used, but hey, here we are. Blaze Accelerator popping Grandmaster. Not the best, honestly. Just adds a Grandmaster back to the hand. Volcanic Shell can now search for another Volcanic Shell. Probably would have wanted to wait for him to summon another monster so that you could Lava Golem them. Now he doesn't even have to summon the Grandmaster again, so you just put yourself in an awkward position for no reason. Giant Trinade, pretty awkward against Swords and Blaze Accelerator. It's not being a hard out here. Makes it really awkward for you to really press through all of this. Normal, special, just to protect your life total. Probably wouldn't have done this. I probably would have just waited, again, until we have something that can accumulate Bushido counters to normal these cards. You have D Prison to defend your life total. Your opponent's Swords of Revealing Light is still up. Their Blaze Accelerator is still up. They can just pop your monsters if they really want to. So I don't think it's a really good time to summon your monsters. You want to get value out of your monsters if you summon them. Now, Volcanic Doomfire is the draw here. How does this card work? I've never read this card in my life. All I know is it's badass and it's a cover card. Cannot be normal summon set. Must first be special summoned from your hand by sending one Tri-Blaze Accelerator you control to the graveyard. During your opponent's battle phase, attack position monsters your opponent controls must attack this card if able. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, destroy as many monsters as your opponent controls as possible. And if you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each monster destroyed by this effect. This is a fucking beast of a card. 3,000 attack, special summonable monster off of Tri-Blaze Accelerator. Doesn't even take tributes, doesn't take your normal summon. And then it Regekis your opponent's board if it kills something, which is insane. And then if they do commit things, they have to attack the Doomfire. They can't attack anything else. So they have to like suicide crash into the Doomfire, that's pretty badass. I actually think that this is heat tech. Very, very slept on card. It is incredibly strong. Not that it really matters here because Lava Golem is going to tribute the 2 monsters and he draws Gateway. And that's why you don't do that. That's why you don't do those things. Attacks the Volcanic guy, activates Threatening Roar. He's just turning the Threatening Roar into a Meteor of Destruction, trying to get 1,000 points of burn out of it. He could Blaze Accelerator to pop the Lava Golem at any point. He's got Gravity Bind now, which is technically like his next copy of whatever the fuck card. Here comes Space Typhoon, targeting the other back row. If it's Threatening Roar, you're going to feel pretty silly. He's going to take another 1,000 from Lava Golem. Activates Grandmaster, or Gateway of the 6. Really no reason to activate this now. You want to wait till you have a normal summon. You're just clogging up your back row so you can't True Nade. Attacks over the Rocket. Counter's going to activate. It's going to take another 1,100. He does catch the missed 1,000 here as well off Lava Golem. Activates Double-Edged Sword Technique. And then Kaios realizes that he's going to die to the burn damage from Double-Edged Sword Technique. And he can't win the game. Should have used that main phase 1. Could have activated the Gateway counters and actually won the game this turn, potentially. But didn't. I think this works each time. No, I guess he couldn't have won this game this turn because, like, what is it? Just... You would bring back Hand, you would bring back Grandmaster, you'd only get 2 tokens on Gateway. Or, yeah, Bushido counters. But then he leaves the game. The only reason I'm posting this replay, because it was quite quick, and it's 2, like, incompetent decks from both perspectives, is I think that both these decks are kind of cool. And I'm kind of interested to see if you guys have takes on either of these decks. Both Six Samurai and Volcanic Burn. I think Volcanic Burn is one of those decks that, like, has potential to be really solid if the right player builds it and pilots it. I think Burn in general is underrepresented in Edison format. I think not a lot of people are really pushing it to its fullest potential. I think actually no one is really working on this deck when they probably should be. The only person who's really done something like notable with this deck was Carpath, who topped with Amaryllis Burn, and I thought that was an amazing take on the Burn archetype. I'd love to see if there are some people who are doing some creative stuff with it. Maybe send me your list on Discord. And then Six Samurai is one of those decks that I think has the cards, right? It has Gateway, it has Double-Edged Sword Technique, it has like the power spells that every other deck can play, but I feel like the configuration hasn't really been found for it yet, because you do have to draw the right combination of monsters. Most of the monsters suck, let's be real, and you do have to draw the right combination of those with the payoff spells and the payoff trap cards. And there isn't really a supplemental engine that someone has found that works well with it. The only Six Samurai decks I've seen so far are pure ones. I think that there is potentially a supplemental engine that works with the Six Samurai cards that makes this deck viable. I'm not going to say good, but it'll make it viable. And figuring out that supplemental engine, figuring out those supplemental cards, whether it's like Giant Rat or whatever to get UFO Turtle to get Kaimon or something like that, whatever the one to get Yaichi, Mother Grizzly, whether it's those battle recruiters or whatever it is, Sangin, I don't fucking know, Allure of Darkness, Dark Arm Dragon, something like that. Whatever the supplemental engine is, it's probably good enough to take advantage of Double-Edged Sword Technique, at the very least. Maybe you're not playing Gateway of the 6, but Double-Edged Sword Technique is not a bad card. Like, just special summon 2 monsters from your graveyard, there's something there. There's definitely potential there for something powerful, especially if you're playing maybe like a Welly Dad version. You send Iroh off of Grepher, Armageddon Knight, that kind of stuff. Double-Edged Sword Technique, couple level 4s back, Telekinetic Powerwell, couple of Krebins out, make a couple Synchros, OTK. I could see that having potential, so I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next vid. Peace.